Hello, everybody. Miche is here to tell us how we can bend spoons, what this means for us as conscious creators, and how we can get out of our own way. So with no further ado, let me introduce you to Miche. Miche, thanks so much for being here with us today.
Thanks. I'm thrilled to be here. And it's actually Miche. Sorry, tried to catch it before we went live to get that close enough. Miche. Yeah. I'm doing great. I'm excited. I love teaching this. So I got so excited I already forgot if I said that I'm from the Spoonbenders Cafe and Heartfelt Energetics. I'm one of the Heartfelt Collective coaches with Jessa Hargrove, which I guess is where we met. Sorry, a little fruit fly thing going on here. Anyway, so yeah, I'm excited to get started and spin spoons with you and hopefully anyone who shows up here.
Yeah, that's awesome. Miche, sorry that I got your name wrong.
That's okay.
Now, let's talk about how you got started, your beginnings with spoon bending. What drew you? What was your draw to bending spoons?
You know, even when I was young, early teens, I was always interested in like self-hypnosis and metaphysical and paranormal and all sorts of like sort of self-help personal growth stuff. I would cruise the shelves in the used bookstores for hours, you know, and look and then come home with 8 different books. So years later, I've been a jeweler for many years, and I was working at my bench on a regular basis, and I would find all these podcasts and interviews online and YouTubes and whatever to listen to while I was working. And there were not nearly as many back then as there are now. I mean, now it's just, you know, bursting, but I found some. And one of them was this woman who had a radio show called News for the Soul. And she sold a spoon bending package as, you know, a way to support her station, whatever. So, you know, here I am bending metal, making rings and whatnot. And here she is talking about, you know, metaphysical bending of metal. And so I listened for a while, and finally I had to do it. And so I bought her kit and watched her videos and her trainings, and I bent a spoon. And it was very exciting. And then I tried to teach everybody I knew because it was so exciting. I wanted you to do it too. And nobody else could do it. And they kind of looking at me weird, and I was frustrated. So I just went back to bending like metal and, you know, ring metal, silver, gold, whatever, and leave the spoons alone until about 3 years ago now, I think. I was teaching a psychic skill building class, and it was just sort of like an impromptu drop-in thing. And one night I just really didn't know what I was going to talk about or do. And spoon bending popped up into my head. So I ran out to a thrift store and, you know, grabbed a half a dozen spoons and came back and met up with folks in my office and just launched into like, hey, spoon bending, and this is how you do it, and this is how it goes. And it worked. Not everybody, but the majority of people who were there, small group, bent their spoons. And then we just talked about like, oh my God, how amazing that was. And from that moment, I was totally hooked on teaching people how to do it, you know, and sharing that.
Yes.
And I realized that, you know, whether it was, you know, things are different now, 15, 20 years later, or, you know, the energies are different. My energy is different, holding the space differently, teaching differently. I don't know. But most of the time, I would say at least 80% of the people who are on any training with me are bending their spoons like right then and there and having an amazing experience. Right. And then of the 20% who don't make it right then, some will make it, you know, they'll do it on their own a little bit later. You and I had a short phone call to just kind of see what was going on. And I gave you a few new metaphors or whatever, and bam, you bent it and off you went. So I think, you know, with all of that, probably like 95% spoon bending rate, you know. And light bulbs going off. So that's how I got to this and how I got so excited about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think when you say light bulbs going off, like that's what it was for me. Just bending the spoon, and for me being an empath, so I was kind of stuck with. I'm a very analytical person, so when I'm listening to you talking about how to bend the spoon, and I'm analyzing it, and I'm focusing on the mental components of it. And then when you and I talked, just you and I could tune into the energy of you are just an adept at this. Like you know how to do it. It comes naturally to you. And that's what I kind of tuned into energetically.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what caused that shift. I could just kind of let the analyzing go, let the mental noise go, and then it just happened. So that was really an interesting part of it, talking about um, getting out of your own way and shutting off that left brain, as you will. Do you think that it might be kind of a right brain
Yeah.
faculty?
It's very much about being in the moment and being out of your critical mind, and out of that sort of dialogue that we tend to run. So, yes, very much about being out, getting out of your own way. The thing is, you need to realize that you are in your own way, before you can get out of your own way. I mean, you don't have to analyze it, right? You just have to notice that, what is it that's not working here? Oh, it's me, and let me take that part, that inner dialogue or monologue that's saying, this is crazy. We know this can't happen. This is ridiculous. I don't even know why I'm trying to do it. Or, you're an idiot for even, I mean, how it can get ugly in there, right? That we don't know. I mean, I've lived with a lot of very negative self-talk. And so it can go from like, why are you doing this, to like, just downright nasty. Move it aside. Just push it aside. You don't have to debate it or refute it, because that's still logical brain, right? That's still the whole left brain thing or right brain thing, right brain.
Left, yeah. Analytical.
Right. So the approach is to take a breath and just try to drop all of that, right? And simply be, and have an intention, and yet not be holding on and grasping to a certain outcome, because again, that's, so it brings in critical mind. It also starts to bring in critical body and like critical physiology, because now, if you have to get this done, and where are my spoons? Here they are. And you're holding a spoon, you want to bend it, and how you really have to, how am I going to, wrestle this and fight it and get it to the ground? And that's not the energy that's going to do it. It's not the thinking that's going to do it, and it's not the energy. So instead, what you need is, again, to be present with ease and with curiosity, instead of making demands of yourself or of the spoon. So I would invite anybody who's on the call now or in the replay at this point, if you have a spoon, to pick up your spoon and be holding it while we're having this discussion. And as we're going along, just, kind of test your spoon now and then and see if it feels different, right? So initially, hopefully you got a spoon that's strong enough that is not going to bend when you attempt to bend it with both of your hands. And then again, in a just relaxed, here we are trying this out to see what happens kind of way, give it like a little push every now and then. And you may find at some moment it's going to feel different. It's either the spoon is going to feel different in your hands are going to feel different on the spoon, or you may feel different in your body somewhere. I tend to get this sort of tingling thing going on in the top of my head when I'm finding that sort of alignment place of quieting the inner critic, being present and calm, just just letting all of whatever's swimming around, just sort of let it go, let it drop away, and it just be. And when we just be, we're actually more of ourselves. We're allowing the rest of who we are to come into play, because the logical mind and the step-by-step oriented methodical mind is what kind of keeps the rest of it at bay, right? Because the methodical mind is like, I'm the one who runs stuff and I'm important, and you, dreamer and manifester and creative, but so what kind of brain and self, you're up out there in the sky, right? Pie in the sky kind of stuff. And I'm the one who gets things done. And so we need to reverse that and let the one who gets things done go think about it over there, while we allow the rest of our capacity, our energetic being and our intuition and our connection to higher mind, to source, to be what's at the forefront. Are you able to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think we have Jazz for joining us. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Tirza is joining us, and we have Rachel who's popped in as well. So thank you guys so much for being here. And if you do have questions, please do pop them into the comments. And yeah, that's the same with manifesting in general, right? So we let go of the how.
Yeah.
Stop that left analytical brain from kind of peeking in and going, how am I going to do this? Letting go of that, how am I going to do this? But just have that intention of it will be done. And the other thing that you told me when we talked was seeing it, viewing it, already done.
Already done, right? And you say that and my face tingles, which is like, yes, there's truth there. That's my body talking to me. As if it's already done. Knowing that it's possible, right? You don't even have to know that it's possible. You have to allow and wonder that it might be possible.
Right.
Right? Because it's open, it's loose. And
right.
So I see Jazz talking about wanting to sell your rental. And so the thing, one of the things that I love about spoon bending is that it is that same manifesting, but it's like immediate. It's fast. You can see it. You can feel it. You can watch it. Whereas manifesting most other things, including, trying to sell your rental, can be a very circuitous path with a lot of pieces moving that you cannot see or know or track. It doesn't mean that it's not working, right? But a lot of times we manifest things and we don't realize it. Well, I mean, we're always manifesting, right? But we don't realize it because it's not like some little, like on an airplane that, the lights will on the floor will light up, to tell you which way to go. We don't get that when we, put out a request to the universe, it doesn't, okay, we're here, now we're there, right?
And we sometimes judge, right? Like,
yes, judge.
Manifesting $10 versus $10,000.
Yeah.
We think $10 will come within 10 minutes and 10,000 will be, 10 weeks.
Right. Assume it will be hard. Assume it didn't work because it didn't happen right away and that kind of thing. So for me, the spoon bending is a practice method to have it show up, right? And so that, things can show up that quickly. Often the more sort of complex things don't. But it's practice to feel that and to learn what it feels like within you, within your own energy, when you are going from here's my intention, here's an action I'm taking, here's a result right away. And so to apply that same energy and then also apply the same confidence that when you see that you can do this, and especially if it's something that you do, you try multiple times, so that you're really kind of learning about yourself in the process and about bending the spoon, then it is something you're becoming more familiar with and that you then take out into other efforts or, other other intentions, other manifestations.
Other areas of your life. Yeah. So is it really learning to a tool to learn how to trust yourself and the process of manifesting, do you think?
Yeah. And to learn to trust yourself and to learn your own sort of signs and signals. I mean, I imagine even you, like as an empath, there must be some feedback that you get from your own self, or that lets you know you're tuning in, or that you're on spot, or you're off, right? And this, it's a practice that you start to learn that and sort of build your own individual vocabulary of words, feelings, images, whatever, that send you the message that you need, or that let you know, okay, like we're on now, there's a connection, right? And to take that into account. And so with the spoon bending, it's another way to tap in to our own symbolism, our own way that we inform ourselves of what's going on that we don't really necessarily realize, right? I mean, I believe that we're capable and we're actually able to bring in and be aware of so much more than our everyday minds are aware of. Nobody ever taught us to do that. We didn't study that in school while they were teaching us how to, write in script. I don't know if they even do that anymore in school, but they're certainly not saying, if you sit quietly and you just open your mind to what is, you may start receiving information, and it may feel like a tingle on your skin, or it may be a song that pops into your head. It may be an image, it may be a scent, whatever, right? We all have our own ways of receiving that mostly we don't know, unless they're so strong that it can't be ignored, right?
Yeah.
Like if you walk into a room, you're seeing dead people behind,
right. And unfortunately, when we're dealing with spiritual people and empathic people, empaths are kind of bombarded all the time with different energies and kind of electric pulses. So it's tuning into what is yours. So that's a really good point with, and hopefully you guys who are here, hopefully you guys do have your spoons with you, and you're listening to Miche. And again, I was, in all my lives that I've done promoting this, I pronounced your name wrong, and I'm so sorry with that. So as Miche is talking about spoon bending and bending your spoon and reality and manifesting, you should be playing around with your spoon. Like this one, this is a toughie. This is a really thick spoon. So, and really get to know and tap into the energy of your spoon. And as empaths, we sometimes don't know what is our own energy, because we grow up as empaths. We don't know if there's anything different. So we feel all of this stuff, and 90% of it isn't ours.
Right.
So when Miche is here to teach us how to bend spoons, that's one component that I just tapped into when you said that. This is the capability of teaching empaths how to tune into their own energy.
Right. What's yours, what's not yours.
Right.
Yeah. I actually have a great guided meditation called the Blue Bubble, and I'll get you the link to post down here afterwards, which is basically going from like your own pure essence and spreading out and pushing out anything else's energy, so that you are in your own bubble of your own clarity. And so you can feel what's yours. And you can still, interact with what's out there, but especially for empaths and just highly sensitive people, right? It gives us a little space to know our own self.
Yes.
Right. So, yeah, and that actually would be like a great kind of meditation to do before bending a spoon or before setting out your intention for manifestation.
Well, you and I both do access consciousness stuff, and we both love that. Those tools and energy pulls and pushing out our energy is a great tool. So Amanda Marie says she's got her spoon. Lynn Hill says spoon in hand. Jazz says thank you. You're very welcome. And we are grateful that Miche is here to teach us this phenomenal tool like this. There's no this is just a doorway to such expansion. You know,
Yeah.
it really is. So this is fantastic. So what can we do next now that we have our spoon in hand?
So, all right. So, we're all energy. We're energy. Spoon is energy. Even though all of this feels like solid stuff, like you feel solid and spoon feels solid. We know from quantum physics that everything is made up of energy. And they're even saying now that there's not even really particles that we're made up of running around at crazy speeds. It's like potentials that are going around, popping in and out. I don't understand it, but I still don't understand how a light bulb works either, exactly. Or I get the light bulb, I don't get the electricity. It's like, anyway, so, but just the point being made that things are not really as they seem to our everyday minds. So, just allow that thought, that idea to sit here with us, and to be curious about what else is possible. If other things are possible besides a spoon showing up as one straight, stiff piece of metal, what might that look like? And I think, like we were talking before, the idea of like, what if I imagine, if you had just bent a spoon, how might you feel, right? How might it feel in your hands? Imagine right now bending the spoon, and literally how would your physiology be? What would your hands feel like? Can you imagine as you hold the spoon and maybe rubbing it, and maybe it starts to feel different between your fingers? Maybe we're all energy, and you may lose the sense of where your finger ends and where the spoon begins. And for me, that's almost like falling into like down the rabbit hole. Like, whoa, kind of, that's a shift. What do you mean? Where's my edge and where's the spoon edge? Because we think everything is kind of clear cut edges, but maybe not. And so as I'm talking about this, and you're holding your spoon and you're feeling it, you can imagine this energy is coming down into our heads, or even up, drawing it up from the earth. This energetic is that we already are, but we're even bringing in more, drawing it up, or sort of calling it down as a beam of light into the top of our heads, and down through our neck and our shoulders, and out our hands, and through across the spoon, because we're making a circuit. And we're always interfacing with the energy, but another thing that we can't see, we can't see what's happening between our hands. We can feel it, we can train to feel that. But again, the spoon makes it obvious, right? Hand, spoon in the middle. I'm going to intend something to happen between my hands with the spoon. And then you may just try and bend it and see what happens. And just being in the moment, not stopping to think about it. Can't analyze it, right? And so it's that moment. Now it can be just a short window. I did that in that moment. This is as far as I was able to bend it. In that moment with you here now, I wasn't able to keep going, right? My window was like that big. And it's amazing. It's cool. If I knew, or if I could hold that window open longer, then perhaps there would have been more bends at this, in one sitting, right? In one moment. So it's about being present. It's about allowing. And then it's also about when you start to feel it going, not going like, because that will knock you, the windows will slam shut right then, because you're shifting your energetic, right? You go like, oh my God. So breathing, always a good thing. Just, allowing a nice deep breath, and feel like you're releasing whatever tensions, and, oh, I have to do it. Or, I'm on screen. What if I don't do it? And just being, and just wondering, I wonder what else could happen. I wonder if I could bend the spoon even further than I already did. And no, at the moment, the answer is no, you know? And so that's the thing too, like you have to allow whatever outcome, right? You can't demand that it show up this way. For one thing, because we have a pretty limited perspective. So who knows what might happen if we didn't just, say like, okay, we have ABC can happen. What about the whole rest of the possibilities that I can't think of? If I'm only stuck on this or this, I'm really closing off the opportunity for something else.
Mm-hmm.
The other side of that is if I'm sort of demanding that this or this happen, then I'm trying to steer it and force it in that direction, which is, you can maybe feel is like a contracting kind of place to be. Like, I have to do this is like, I'm squeezing it, but I feel like I'm also squeezing myself. I'm squeezing my whole energy body into like something, kind of sort of stiff and hard in that way, rather than saying, I wonder what's possible. I wonder what I'm capable of. I wonder what sort of collaboration I could be in with a spoon, with a metal spoon, like, and how weird is that? But okay, I'm willing to, entertain the idea and see what happens. And that is expansive. And that is like, whoa, anything could happen. And
Amanda says she just felt it for a split second.
Excellent. And it's the feeling it, that's the hard place to get to, or the unknown. That's the unknown place. And so to allow that, right, to be amazed, like, oh my God, how many minutes did that take that suddenly you felt something shift that you would have never thought you could feel shift. Yeah. So now you learned a little something about yourself and how that feels. And now, try to drop into that space that you were in again and take it a little further, see what happens next, and then I just in saying that and then thinking, okay, I'll try. Now I got this other bend. Oops, where are we going on?
Right? Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Allowing, right? Yeah. And one of the reasons that I tend to talk a lot when I'm doing this training is on my own behalf and for you to keep our logical minds busy, right? So I'm like talking and then, we were thinking and we're looking at these ideas and like, okay, relax. And part of us is like following the instruction, right? The logical mind is trying to follow the instruction, but the rest of us is still just over here saying like, oh, cool, I'm going to try this. Well, you're busy over there, And the more comfortable we get with being in that space, we don't have to try to lock our logical mind up in the other room. We can have the whole of us available and have choice about sort of who's running the show at the moment or who's willing to let go of running the show. So I'm wondering if anybody else feeling anything, bending anything, how are things going?
Yeah, Tirza said she came in late. Please save it to the group. I will. Yeah, the replay will be available in this group, guys. No worries.
Yeah, and from what I know, it works just as well on a replay as it does on the live. And I'm also available to anybody here, like I was with Jillian, that, if you feel like you need a little extra boost or some different ideas about how to access that place, you can ask me questions, you can comment below, you can send me a private message and we can talk about it. We can even jump on a short Zoom or video chat and kind of see, where, like when Jillian and I were talking one-to-one, I was able to have a better idea from what you were telling me about, what is your frame of reference and what, where does magic show up for you and how you access that. And so then I was able to kind of speak your language so that you found your way in, right? I mean, there was something I said that was like, I can.
Like we had said earlier, because of, you did this similar thing, the live group session in Heartfelt Village. And so as an empath, I had trouble tuning into only your energy. Right. So one-on-one, I could tune into your energy and I knew that you do this all the time. So this is natural for you. This is no problem. There's no, again, I'm analytical, so I judge.
Right.
So I'm judging myself. And with you and your energy, there's no judgment with you. You just, it's natural.
Yeah.
So and that's that vibe that I could tune into and own. I could try that energy on.
Yeah.
So, you know, when you say, think of the end result, see it in your mind, the end result of you bending the spoon, try that on. Try the energy of, wow, I did it. That's so cool.
Right. And then you could feel that and found your place. I've had other conversations where, like, one woman does craniosacral work, and which is very subtle. If you don't know, it's kind of working with the spinal fluid pulses and dural sac, like really stuff that you can feel when you're trained, but you can't. It's crazy that you can feel it and affect it with your hands. And so when she and I were talking, she was, you know, kind of focusing in on that and realizing that she can feel and shift crazy stuff with her hands, that she knows how to do that. And so taking that knowing and applying it to the spoon bending, she bent a spoon like that. Wow. You know, we're all manipulating energy all the time, but we don't know it, and we don't know it. We don't know what we're already expert at. You know, the other day I was saying, like, if I told you to just tie your shoelaces, you would just do it. You know, unless you had something with buckles or Velcro, but then you would do that, you know, and it would just be like, you know, I say, hey, how about you do that? And you do it because you already have total confidence that it's something that you can do, you're comfortable with. And it's like, well, of course, you know, I'm going to just go do it. If you can bring that kind of confidence and capacity and comfortableness, must be a better word, but it's what I got at the moment, ease, to the spoon bending, and just bring the energy of it, even though you don't really know how to do it, right? So even though you hadn't bent a spoon yet, you brought the energy, you brought my energy. But what would that feel like? What would it feel like for you? And you were able to step into that. And so, you know, same thing with the spoon. And then, so it's, to me, a tangible proof that this whole idea works. And so then the next time you have some public speaking that you have to do, or a blog post that you have to write, or some scary, nervous interaction with your boss, or, you know, whatever it is, you can also intend for, you know, the greatest outcome, or, you know, you can pick a trajectory, right? Like, here's what, you know, I want to bring in more money. Don't say, you know, 5,000, because maybe you'll get 8,000, or, you know, right? To not limit the outcome, but to be pointed in a direction, and to imagine embodying what would that feel like to have already, to know that it's already done. And
we have Lynn just got a little bend, then she closed her eyes, breathed, and got a second bend. And Rachel is super excited because she
yeah,
she said her spoon is bent in half.
Nice.
Good job, Lynn and Rachel. Awesome.
Yeah, you did it. You know, and it's that simple. And we wouldn't normally think so. Think, you know, oh my God, I'm gonna have to practice it, and, you know, for weeks and days and months. And you know, I want to be calmer in public speaking. I'm gonna have to take, you know, a workshop and a Toastmasters and a class, and you know, all of these things can help, right? We're learning, we're growing, we're practicing. And what if, in general, things in our life were like that easy?
Yeah.
We feel that unusual, and yet step into it, and suddenly it really is that easy. And that we have an innate ability to create. And if we figure out how to allow that, get out of our own way, right? Then, like, who knows what's next? I don't know.
Yeah.
Right. And for me, having, you know, read so many books and listened to so many interviews and podcasts and trainings and this and that about people who had amazing experiences and manifested incredible things, and I was like rooting along for them, and not really having my own results or knowing that I had my own results. So when I came upon the spoon thing, it was, for me, it was my proof, right? It was my tangible, okay, this works. I see how it works. I feel how it works. Now I know, not necessarily in the logical mind knowing, although I mean my logical mind has to kind of admit something happened here, you know. But in my own sort of greater energetic knowing, I'm learning this and getting stronger and better at it, clearer. My energy is clearer when I sit down to bend a spoon. And so now when I intend something else, my energy is clearer with that too. And so bring that same, okay, and here's Aslin to post a pic, definitely. Anybody who's bending a spoon here, second bend for Rachel, awesome. Yeah, I don't know if you'll be able to post a pic right while we're on the live, but if not, certainly do it, afterwards in the comments, and we'll all check it out and hoot and whoop and congratulate you. And now that your spoon is bent, keep it somewhere that you can see it. Put it on your desk or on a windowsill in your kitchen, or whatever, someplace that you will see it, particularly a place where you tend to get stressed out. And it can be the reminder for you of tapping into that sort of calm, neutral, open space, and a reminder of what kind of results are possible and how easily that can be achieved. So, you can wonder, like, what else can I do? What else can I do that's so easy that I can't even imagine it right now? But if I allow myself to wonder and step into the next task, I'm going to amaze myself the same way that you just amazed yourself with your spoon.
Yeah.
Letting go. Yes.
We, let it go. The let go. Yeah. So, and with access consciousness, Dane here often says you can't create or actualize with willpower. And that's the same thing. I can't bend this. This is a tough spoon. I cannot bend this with willpower, with physical strength. But if we do this process and intend and set that intention and see the end result, and then go back into it, and like you said, there's that window of, and that's what I did with this first one, was, I set the intention and I put my finger here and I said, right there, I just want to bend right there. And I put it down, and then I did something else, and my left brain was busy. And then I just got that window in my mind of, it's now time. It was just like this ding. And then I went back and just went, I wonder. And it just bent.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Right. So are there other manifestations that you have used this same technique, not with spoon bending, but with manifesting something into your life?
Yeah. And sometimes it's as simple as I went to a restaurant with friends, and there was a long line outside the door, and the maitre d', the woman with the checklist, said that it was going to be at least 30 minutes. And we were all really hungry, and we'd gone to Phoenix for a training workshop, and we didn't really know where else to go. We didn't want to go, anyway, we were hungry and we needed to eat like now, And so as we were just standing there chatting and whatever, we decided to stay. And I did, kind of had this process in my mind that I had just been learning at the workshop, of sort of collapsing time. And so I thought, like, okay, well, here we are. And like, here's where we want to be, being like inside the restaurant eating, and in a similar way to bending the spoon, I was like, okay, we're here, there's here. And I'm just going to like change that. And I didn't know how, right? I mean, I just, in my head, I sort of had this sort of motion of collapsing or accordion closing. And I think it was about 15 minutes that we got seated. We were not the only threesome that was there, but somehow we were in 15 minutes. And it felt decidedly connected, to having collapsed that. Somebody years ago taught me a parking song, which is excellent for manifesting a parking spot in normally very difficult, can't find a parking spot situations. And I've had to get over my fear of singing. It's not exactly a song, that's kind of a big word for it. But then I got to share it, right? And it just goes parking, 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 parking. That's it. And as I'm sort of getting into a neighborhood of, the restaurant or the parking lot or whatever that I'm headed toward, as I think of it, I just sing that song a few rounds. And, while I'm doing that, I'm aware I'm looking for a spot. I mean, I would be looking for a spot anyway, right? You don't drive down the block and not try to notice where there's an empty spot, but the energy is different. And there's something about that. Like, so often there's a spot right there. Oh, look, there's somebody who I wouldn't have noticed maybe who's sitting in the car. They haven't stepped on the brakes yet, so there's no lights or anything, but I notice you're pulling out. There's my spot. And besides the end result, which is lovely, getting into the restaurant sooner or getting the parking spot on, very practical sort of levels, the time spent doing that or waiting for that to happen is much more pleasant than driving around saying like, oh, I can't believe it. Every time I come down here, it's so crowded and they don't have enough parking. And, and you're just kind of like grousing, right, about why are you doing it? Why are you doing that to me? Or, whatever. It's much more comfortable to sing a ridiculous little song, and brighten, be in a brighter mood, and then have some outcome show up. And then just the whole thing is like a bonus little experience. Mm-hmm. So simple, really simple like that. Not long ago, there was a program that I really wanted to be part of, and the funds were definitely not in my bank account at the time, or, and didn't look like they were going to be in the foreseeable window that I needed to make this commitment. And actually Lynn, who's on here, and my partner, we were hanging out, visiting my mom, and we were in the ocean at the time, just, enjoying the waves and the sun and whatever. And I'm talking about, how much I really want to do this and how much I really don't have the money. And I was like, what I really need, I need like a benefactor. And a part of me just wanted to say like, that's the most absurd thing you've said. Like, where are you going to find a benefactor? And I don't know if it was later that night or the next day, I was talking with a friend of mine who am sharing, what it was I was so excited about. And she said, you know what? I'm willing. It feels so right for you to be doing this program that whatever you can't make, in like the monthly payment, I will take up the balance. It's like, holy cow. We didn't have that kind of relationship there. It was really out of the blue. I didn't ask her for it. I just sort of like threw it out like, well, gee, that would be really helpful. That would be a way to, and it could have come 10 other ways too, right? Because I wasn't saying that was the only way, but it was at the moment kind of the way that I could imagine, although I couldn't imagine it really happening, but I could imagine if it did happen, that would be a way to make it happen, But I didn't analyze it, and I just, I remember saying it out loud and thinking like, and carrying on with our lovely time in the water, and left it at that. And then, all of a sudden something was different. And so it's that same thing, that I'm saying to manifest other things, to do the same of like having the intention. I mean, that wasn't even hardly intentional, but, in that particular way, but I was making it known that I really wanted to be able to participate in this program, and that money at the moment was sort of an obstacle. So I would like that obstacle to be removed somehow. And so it worked. And same thing, right now I don't know what's going to happen, but I would like to see about bending a spoon. And then, well, let's see, now that I've said that, it's pretty, thick one too. I think the thing is to not think, oh, this is a really thick spoon, because what you're saying in that moment is like energetically is like, oh my God, this one's going to really be harder. It's energy, it's the same stainless steel as the other spoon that I just bent. And yes, I mean, they're different. Okay. But to not dwell on why I think this one's going to be harder than that one.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's like the next limiting belief, right? Like, oh, I was able to do that one, but that's not thin either, but that's got to be at least, a quarter of a millimeter thinner than this one, and so it's got to be harder. And what if it's not?
Wow.
What if, actually, I don't know that, this one, it's going to break, because I could feel it as I was bending it. It got like stiff, like brittle. So, I'm not going to call that one a win exactly, because it was, I did bend it. So I get a half a win for that, because I prefer to bend it and then not have it, like ready to break, right? Because then I feel like, okay, that, something about how it got made, or maybe somebody else was bending it before. But I have, like you, I brought a bunch of spoons. So I can try the next spoon and see, all right, I can flex this one a little bit, but that's all I can do with, when I'm getting the little spoon ridges going. But if I let it and just be in a moment, and again, for those of you who just did it, or those of you who are just about to do it, it's as simple as, stepping into the possibility of it. And I guess I did want to say also, like, the example of you taking on the energetic of that, and this other woman who was the craniosacral therapist, finding that, that we all have something that we do that comes with ease. And it doesn't have to be what our passion is or our career or whatever. It could be like, when you are baking, you've got that whisking thing down, like totally, like you and the whisk are one while you're, mixing your eggs or whatever. And that energetic, that the smoothness, the ease, the kind of non-logical knowing that your body has mixing with the energetic is exactly the place that you make this stuff happen from, and can make things happen.
Ooh, you had a big window there.
Yeah, right. I was talking, I was like, not, oh my God, just calm. And so it's another thing, so it's a cool thing to experience. It's also an amazing thing to practice, the way you would sit and practice meditation and cultivate the ability to have a quieter mind. So I sit down with a spoon and I cultivate my ability to stay in presence and let go of outcome, and I also liken it to when you throw a pebble into a pond and you see the ripples. You don't control the ripples, you control the throwing, and you have to let go. If you don't let go, there's going to be no result, no ripples. And you can't wish to pull it back after you throw it either. Like, you throw it and you just, okay, it is.
Yeah.
So
I like that. And that's what I do with NLP with my business, is we match up with something that is easy for you.
Yeah.
With something that you want to do, but you feel is too difficult. We create that link in your brain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so actually, that's, I'm not an NLP. I know a little bit about it, but it's not my thing. But I think in my own way, I'm doing that sort of anchoring of that kind of NLP thing where, you do this, you see how easy it is, and then you take that and apply it to someone else, something else. So I'm trying to help you link the ability to do this amazing thing easily with whatever else you want to do that doesn't feel easy, that feels too hard or daunting or whatever. It's like, how hard could it be to sit down and write an article after you've done this? Really? If you can drop the conditioned monologue of, I'm not good at writing and it takes so long for me to get an idea. And, we're telling ourselves these sorts of things all the time about what we can do and can't do, usually about what we can't do, not so much about what we can do. So,
yeah. And you made a good point too of just like you can whisk an egg or the cake batter easily enough. So using that ease of whisking, that feeling, and matching it with the ease of being able to bend the spoon as well. So
Right.
you can do that as the first step. Once you bend the spoon, then you can use that as the link to other things that you thought were difficult or you wouldn't be able to do, and link that and kind of create these anchoring within
Right.
your mindset. So we only have, can you believe that it is 6:52?
Wow. Okay.
So we'll start to wind this down. But does anybody have any questions for Miche? Any questions or some more successes? Have you guys been bending your, Lynn says you broke a spoon. That's awesome.
Yeah, I guess I'm not refreshing here. Yeah, and feel free, afterwards when we're not broadcasting, to continue, to leave comments or questions, in the thread, and also feel free to contact me privately.
And hopefully you can put in your link to your Spoonbender Cafe in this window, or
yeah, I'll do that. Or if you have it, you can do it. I've got a private group, Spoonbenders Cafe, where we can continue this in a sort of community discussion and hopefully talk about other things, like the parking song or like what, science is figuring out about how we send photons literally when we make eye contact. We're actually sending photons to each other, and to just, amazing things that are going on that we're not necessarily aware of, or realizing what kind of an impact it could make in our life. If we think about what does that mean.
Well, on the double slit experiment, we're going to get into quantum physics here, but the double slit experiment, right? Is it a wave? Is it a particle? Right.
And as we observe life, we're changing it just by the fact that we're observing it. And so
observing and visualizing that end result of the bent spoon, does it create that reality for us?
Right. Yeah. One last point, because it's new for me. It just kind of popped up as, I was listening to you and the anchoring and the easy and the hard, So what came to me is that, one of the most common things people will say, like if you're afraid to get up and speak in front of people, I haven't heard it so much now, but I remember years ago they would say, just imagine them in their underwear, right? And it was supposed to take the tension off, right? Because, I'm going to feel like a fool, but no, if they're in their underwear, they're going to be a bigger fool than me. And maybe it worked. I never tried it, but it's sort of based on feeling foolish. Somebody's got to feel foolish there. And so again, to me, it's like a sort of a negative, a contractive, not constructive, expansive sort of thing, right? So I like to, when I notice something like that, to switch it around, and I'll think, why don't I pretend that these people are all either my best friend or, good friend, or they're about to be. If they're not already my friend, they're going to hear my voice and they'll be like, I need to know you, and I want to hear what you say. And so to pretend it into something that will feel comfortable and inviting and sort of draw you out into it, rather than, you all are more tongue-tied and ridiculous than I could ever be. So I'm going to feel okay, because I'm going to feel better than you or something. That's not the really sort of aligned, expansive way to go about things. And so the Spoonbender philosophy would be, how can this be a wonderful experience? I don't know. Let's see.
Yeah. And that's another NLP tool is the ring of, or circle of excellence, which so creating a circle, and you kind of do this when if anybody has a Zen corner or meditation spot in their house or home where they meditate all the time, you're creating a circle of excellence. So every time you're in that circle, you just have to step, if you've meditated there for a few times, you just have to step into that space, and then you're like, oh, I don't have to meditate. I can just sit here and I'm just instantaneously in Zen. Create a circle of excellence of stepping in and intending that whenever you're in that circle, things work out to your benefit. And speakers will actually use this, and they'll project the circle of excellence onto the stage that they're next speaking at. So when they're there, all of the audience love what they're saying, and they are their friend.
Yeah, that's right. I love that.
Yeah, and you can use that with this as well.
Right. I finally got to teach Jessa Hargrove how to bend a spoon in a live recently. We've been talking about it for months. I even sent her a box of spoons that just somehow never arrived at her doorstep.
Oh, no.
And we've just been like, oh my God, when are we going to get this done? So anyway, we did it. And it was 2 or 3 days later, she writes back and says that she was going out to meet a potential new client for lunch. And for some reason, she decided to put her bent spoon in her purse. You know, and I mean, I talk about keep it somewhere where you can see it, right? Sort of like it's my little spoon circle of excellence. And so she did that. And then while they were talking, she was suddenly inspired to show this guy the spoon. And he was like amazing. He was like, oh my God, wow. And right then and there signed up with her for like a year of coaching.
Wow.
You know, and she's incredibly skilled and she's really good at what she does. So no doubt, you know, she already had it. You know, she had the mojo and she had what she needed. And yet it created something new between them right away, you know, and allowed her to say like, oh my, like, look at this, you know? And then he was just so amazed that he's like, yes, I want that. So the more we bring that kind of energy with us, whether it's with a spoon in hand or not, you know, we are affecting the who and what and where around us.
Yeah.
Literally. So, okay. I can talk for hours about this because I really love it. And I love helping people, you know, have their aha moments. Some people want to go have dinner or something. I don't know.
Well, does anybody have any questions for Miche? And I just want to say again, thank you so very much for coming in and teaching us this skill. And yes, I've been having, there's been a few questions. This live will stay up. So it's available to you guys to come back and watch it. And Miche is available to you as well. So if you watch the live or not, you can reach out and just ask her for some suggestions, or maybe she can get on a Zoom call with you, or she has a group called the Spoonbender Cafe, which is, oh, did you do it again?
Yeah.
Is that a circle?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
There. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So definitely I would love to have you join me at the Spoonbenders Cafe. And I totally forgot, and I don't want this to be some like big sales pitch at the end. I am going to be teaching on January 31st a 2-hour masterclass where I'm going to be taking us from like where we just went and beyond, and more specifically into how to bend your life and some other tools besides the parking song that will kind of help us tap into that greater possibility. Beautiful. I will. I don't have a link yet for that, but it is on the 31st, and I will give you a link as soon as I have one for people to sign up if you want. So you can message me and ask me about it. But it's going to be fun. It's really going to be fun. So.
Well, and the more tools that we have that to manifest the life of our dreams and the life that we deserve, the better. So that's fantastic. Yeah.
Yep. You can't fix everything with a hammer and a screwdriver. Sometimes you need a new needle. It's not even in you know, something you wouldn't even normally find in your toolbox.
That's right.
You know, cross professions there.
Yeah.
So thank you. I had so much fun doing this.
You're very welcome. Thank you for being here. And I don't see any new questions, but you guys put the questions in below if you have them.
Actually,
the ends.
Rachel asked, can you bend this without holding the spoon? I have not. I haven't actually tried. I believe it can be done. I'm sure people have done it. And I know people who have just held the spoon and rather than, you know, put pressure on it, have it simply bend. And actually, there's a woman that I know, we were talking about spoon bending, and she said that she, without ever intending to, like she would sometimes sit down at the table and spoon would bend, which, you know, boggles my mind. I mean, I go around bending it with my hands, but oh my God, that would blow me away even further to just sit down and have my spoon, you know, start to curl up.
And that's the next step, right?
What's that?
That's the next step.
Yeah, it's a next step. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Lior Suchard is the mentalist that I was talking about in the live. And I did put in a video in our conversation. I think it was, the video from yesterday. And he can bend stuff without touching it.
Yeah, that's great.
He'll have the spoon in his hand and he'll actually just intend for the energy to come down.
I've seen, yeah. It is amazing. And we are amazing. I mean, when I say that's amazing, I don't mean it's amazing, so of course we can't do it. I'm like, it's amazing, and sure, we can.
It's available for us.
Yeah. Or telekinesis. I mean, I guess that is telekinesis, but where, people can, with their energy, move objects on a table, or I don't know. I've heard that the military, even in China, knew that people could teleport. So,
Wow.
Yeah, I'll believe it. Why not?
Yeah. Quantum jumping, remote viewing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. I have done remote viewing, and which is non-local seeing or knowing in a non-local kind of way, and also in a non-time way, because you can see forward or backward.
Yeah.
Because on that level of us being energy and awareness, time doesn't exist in the linear kind of way that we know it here. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, obviously, we could just go on and on and on and on. Maybe we'll schedule like a half a day workshop sometime, and we can go on and on.
Yeah. Oh, there's just so many tools, and this is so fun to chat with you. And thank you again so much for coming in. And you guys can reach out if you do have any questions. And if you want to get in touch with Miche, just no worries. There'll be links put into this video thread.
Yes.
For you to chat or connect with Miche in her group, or
just
however.
I mean, I'm in your group too. Yeah. And I'm going to try to remember all the links that I said I would put. And if there's something that I said that I didn't put, remind me. Or if there's something that you think of that you think I might know what the link is, let me know. So, yeah, thank you. I'm delighted to get to do this. And I wonder what's next.
That's right. What else is possible? Thanks, guys, so much for joining us. And if you do have any other information, if you want to learn more about manifesting or what else could be possible for you, please do let me know. If you're interested in more videos like this, I'd love to bring them to you. I think this is so much fun. We are in this together to design, build, and create and align with our dream lives. It's time. 2019 is our year. So until then, I will talk to you guys soon. Bye for now.
Everybody, bye.